welcome to the Digital Signage Today podcast, produced by Networld Media Group. I'm Judy Model, editor of Digital Signage Today. I'm pretty excited to introduce our guest, Randy Marsden from Skidattl. He's the CEO, and this is the fifth startup that he's led. So Randy is known for numerous successful ventures, including the on-screen keyboard Swype, which was acquired by Microsoft, and Dryft, which was acquired by Apple. He envisions a future where virtual information seamlessly integrates with the real world, and he aims for Skidattl ubiquity within 3 to 5 years. So Skidattl is a B2B software as a service platform that enables businesses to place virtual signs in the real world using AR. And it had a soft launch at the FASTSIGNS International Convention this year, I think just in March. And the enthusiastic feedback on virtual signage and AR-powered signage came across very clear. So thanks for being here, Randy. I'm really excited to hear everything about Skidattl.
Yeah, I'm really happy to be here. Thanks for that great introduction.
So let's just kick off talking about how Skidattl was born, the vision, the strategy, kind of like from where you started to today.
You know, the evolution was a story about a conversation with my teenage son. So anyone with teens nowadays can probably empathize. He was on his screens all day, if not for school, for gaming, social interaction, And I asked him one day to take the dog out for a walk. And he jokingly said, well, that means I have to go outside. And I said, okay, that's a problem, right? And we just sat around and talked. And, he made a comment like, yeah, I know everyone thinks technology is ruining the youth of today. And I had spent 20 years using technology to help people with disabilities. So I said, hey, it's not technology's fault. It's just how it's being used. And it was just a hypothetical conversation. I was like, well, what could we use technology to reverse this trend? How could we encourage all of us to get outside more using technology? And so that started the conversation of Skidattl. Well, we could put these markers outside and you could maybe get rewards if you go to them and that sort of thing. And the idea of Skidattl was born.
And how far back was that, Randy?
That's like 5 years ago.
Okay.
And then what happened was COVID. And the idea of like going outside and interacting was like, okay, we better wait. Right. So we did a lot of thinking during that time, but we waited till the pandemic was over before we really got going.
So the whole idea of virtual signage, how does that add value, or whether it competes with traditional digital signage?
I think like the name, it augments it. We're not getting rid of digital signage. We're just adding to it. And in fact, we go hand in hand with it because the way you launch Skidattl is with a QR code. And so that QR code has to be somewhere. And usually that's on a digital sign. You think about real estate, they have a lawn sign, you put a QR code on there and it will launch a Skidattl experience where you can add a whole lot more to the experience of seeing the home than just the lawn sign.
So where do you see is the best fit for Skidattl in terms of environments? Obviously we're talking about outdoor, but there must be indoor applications and maybe unique applications where regular digital signage doesn't work, right?
There's a lot of indoor stuff being done for real estate where people will stage a house virtually using augmented reality. And so there's a lot of good stuff being done for indoor.
Right.
But we thought for outdoor, there just isn't much. There's things like Pokemon Go, which is a game, and that's outdoor and it's using augmented reality. And so there's a lot of gamification around AR, but not a lot of practical use. There's practical use for training. That's one thing that AR has really been used good for. But we just thought very simply, like they could just be signs and they could augment the physical signs and the world. We're not trying to replace the world with some new fantasy of a dragon flying through the air and an elephant sitting on your coffee table. We're just making signs and putting them in specific geographic locations, which is like a really simple concept. And everyone always says, I'm surprised this hasn't been done before. And a lot of great ideas, that's the case. It's just they seem simple once you come up with them. But as far as I know, we're the first to do this and make it usable by anybody.
So when it comes to challenges and drawbacks, and I might be wrong, but I'm guessing wireless connectivity, phone issues, something like that, or whatever device you're using. Are there any other challenges you guys have met along the 5 years of development?
Yeah, we met a few. Um, there's, but I come from Apple. I worked there for 8 years, led an engineering team. I brought some really smart people with me. So I always say challenges are great. I love challenges. I love hard because we can do hard, but not everyone can do hard.
Right.
But some of the challenges along the way, like you say, you got to have internet connection for this. So one of the first places we tried it was Burning Man. It was great.
Really?
We had beacons on all of the art installations out on the playa, but you had to get an internet connection to see them. And then internet connectivity at Burning Man's not great.
Right.
So that's one challenge. We always have to think about, do we have internet connectivity? Places where we don't, we download the assets beforehand. The other challenge is location. So we use GPS, and GPS right now is intentionally not super accurate. It's good to about 10 or 15 feet.
Right.
So if you want to put a digital sign on a brick on a house, you can't be that accurate. It's going to be kind of over the house.
Okay.
And for big events, that's fine.
Right.
But we're constantly finding ways to make it improve the accuracy of GPS. And we use something called computer vision to do that.
Okay.
And also GPS itself is becoming more and more accurate as phones get more advanced and the hardware and the wireless radio. GPS is just satellites talking to your phone.
Right.
And when you get indoors, that signal really weakens. And so Skidattl works indoors, but not great. So we say the best use case is outdoor. So yeah, we've overcome those challenges. You ask for what kind of use cases are best. That's also a challenge because it's just about anything outdoors. If you have an outdoor event or venue or nature, you just think any place where this nice, clean, friendly digital sign is helping you find your way or giving you more information, then that's the use case. And the reason that's a challenge is we're a small company, and it's like, which one do you focus on?
Right.
There's golf courses, there's real estate, there's theme parks, smart cities,
National parks, right?
National parks. It's really open. And so what we quickly learned early on is we need to make a platform that everyone can use.
Right.
Because we can't go and do this for all of those use cases. And so that's what we've done. We've made this SaaS software. It just runs on your computer's web browser. And it's as easy as making a Facebook or LinkedIn post. It's 5 quick steps. What's the name of it? When do you want it to appear? Where is it going? What does it look like?
Right.
And you send those, and instantly they go live. So for the first time, anybody can make an augmented reality sign and place it anywhere in the world.
So say I'm a mini golf operator, which is outdoors 99% of the time, and that's very big down here in the Carolinas. I mean, to me, that sounds like a perfect environment because, there's a way to entertain and engage with people as they go through the golf, course. And oftentimes there's nothing. You're just hitting the ball, through every hole. But I can see applications for, if they have a restaurant reminding you of the menu. You can even, maybe learn some history about mini golf, something like that. But like you said, wireless is the key. And the good thing is most of them are located near Myrtle Beach City. So, I don't think wireless is going to be an issue.
Yeah.
But I was curious on the flip side, on the user side, are we all there yet in terms of like wanting to use our phone for virtual signage interaction?
We got to thank Pokemon Go because it
Right,
broke the world into this idea of look through your phone and see things.
right.
Snap also does
But
this.
see, isn't that neat? I mean, I remember my kids doing Pokemon Go, and it was like a little crazy for me, but it wasn't my generation game. So, I
Yeah.
mean, say, are we talking that we're hitting the 25 to 30-year olds primarily with this kind of technology
I
and
think
younger?
I think everyone is used to taking their phone out of their pocket and looking at maps, right?
Right.
That's something that we're very used to. And this is just an augmentation of that. If you
Okay.
think about it, this is a 2D map is what you're used to seeing. This is a 3D map. So, we say, look up, look around you, look through your
Right.
phone, and you're going to see the world. And honestly, that's more real than the 2D environment that we all had to learn.
Right.
I do want to say, though, you've kept the streak going because everyone I talk to has some new idea, and mini golf is a new one. And you're absolutely right. The whole layout of the facility, you could show where the restaurants are, where the bathrooms are, but then you could do other fun things like
Right.
you can tell beacons that they only appear when you get so close to them.
Right. Right.
And so you could have like a scavenger hunt of beacons as you go golfing. You could set 3 or 4 up. And if you get to them and see them, you can like them. And if you show you liked all 5, you get a free
And,
prize.
and I don't know if you're a mini golf fan, but I am, as people who
Yeah.
listen to this podcast know. There's a lot of wait time sometimes. You're
Yeah.
waiting for the party in front of you to move forward. So perfect application. So as we wrap up, I need to know, where did the name come from?
I've always, so all 5 startups, I chose the name. And, I've even hired professionals and just never gotten it. And we were really struggling with what to call this concept. Virtual signs just don't sound exciting. The company itself, our company name is Live Technologies. So that
Okay.
idea was like, get out there and live. So we were trying to think of something fun and playful that means get out there, and
Yes, Skidattl.
Skedaddle came to mind. It's like, let's skedaddle, let's go, let's
Right.
get out there. I think it's the evolution of the word was a shortening of let's go, let's get out of here, let's get out of here, let's skedaddle. I think that's how it came to be around the Civil War, I think, is when it
Yeah, I
was
mean,
first
it's an
used.
old word. I'd have to look it
Yeah.
up. Yeah.
I have boomers like me go, hey, I love the word. And then I have young kids like my kids who say, I don't know what that means. And I say, it means this great new augmented reality software. That's what it means. We'll redefine it.
And you know what, Randy? And I know I'm a bit older than you, but I grew up, we were out of the house. We were never
Yeah,
in the home. I mean,
right.
honestly. And I saw my kids kind of revert into being home with the devices and the computers. And, it was educational learning on my part that I thought was great for those devices. But I think it's gotten a little bit skewed where it's become their world. So, getting out is such a healthy,
Yeah,
approach, right?
you nailed it. I mean, there's lots of studies that have shown the best treatment for depression is to
Right.
go for a walk outside. And it also helps physical health. It's like this magic pill.
Right.
And so, one use case of Skedaddle is therapists, doctors could prescribe a beacon, and say,
Oh,
I want you to go find this beacon. And it means you have to go for a walk into the park.
right.
And unlike medicine, they can tell if you've done it or not.
Right.
We can record. So it has real mental and physical health benefits, just getting outside, meeting people. And in a very practical sense, digital signage, you can think about places like Hawaii where you're not allowed any signs. And
Right.
a business is like, come on, I need to have my logo, my sign. I want to be able to tell people today's special. And this lets you do that in locations where physical signs aren't allowed or there's no room for them.
Right.
You have a 4th dimension where you can put up a sign, but then people tap on that and you can give them lots of information. You can play a video, you can link out to your website.
Right.
So it's just a portal into a fourth dimension of the real world. It's pretty cool.
I love that word. And I think it's a brand new portal. And I'm so excited, and I can't wait to have you back in a year or two where we can talk about all the mini golfs that have it and all the therapists who are using it, and it's kind of ironic in a way. You came out of COVID, you kind of got stalled by COVID, and one of the issues with COVID was obviously not getting out, and I think people are still having a little bit of hesitancy getting out more. So I think Skidattl is going to be amazing.
Yeah, pandemic lured us into a new way of living, which is virtual. And listen, virtual is great. Like there is, lots of good, Gen AI and everything that's happening, but we just can't forget about the real world. It's a great place to be. Wonderful experiences waiting for us out there, and Skidattl will help you get there.
Well said, and so glad you were here. I can't wait to have you back. And thanks for spending your time with us, Randy.
Thanks for inviting me, and I'm happy to come back anytime.
Great. To our listeners, please subscribe to the Networld Media Group YouTube channel and catch up on all our past great episodes. And thanks again, Randy.
Thanks, Judy. Talk to you soon.